Good evening, Holliston, and welcome to the August 28th school committee meeting. Welcome back, everyone. At this point, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And should we start with the consent agenda?
Sure.
So we've got minutes from the June 12th school committee meeting and a whole bunch of warrants.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor? That passes. We do not have student representatives tonight, and I don't see anyone here for public comment. Is there anyone? Are we on Zoom?
Do we have anyone?
Is that David Jordan or?
Did they leave? Oh.
Okay.
I think you have to let them in the room still, are they? Okay.
So if anyone online would like to make a comment, just raise your hand. No. Okay, shall we start with school committee individual comments?
I just wanted to welcome everyone back to school. I heard that day one went relatively smoothly, which is great. And just wanted to wish everyone the best of luck this upcoming year.
I do want to welcome everyone back. I had the honor of being there on day one, mainly with Dan, at the front entrance on Linden Street. While definitely nothing is ever perfect, it was pretty smooth to the expectations. So I thank all the parents for their patience. I know buses are still working through the cycles, and hopefully everything gets smoother for the rest of the year.
I also wanted to welcome everyone back and just thank the administrators, the district, and the principal administrators to all the communication that went out over the summer about the new school start times, the transportation. There's just so much information that was shared with parents over the summer, so thank you.
Yes, I certainly agree with what everyone else has said, and I'd also like to thank the families for their patience. I know anytime something new happens, it takes a little while, so thank you for your patience. And a special thank you to our educators. I know September, end of August is really crazy, personally and professionally, so thank you for being there for our children and for supporting them as we would want them to be cared for in your classrooms.
Yeah, I'll just echo what everyone else says. Welcome back, and it sounds like things are going as smoothly as possible given all the changes. So.
And same. Thank you, everyone, for making it such a great week for all the students. Thank you to the staff for the time they put in to set up, ready for everyone, and that's it.
And I'll echo all of those same thanks, but I also wanted to special shout out to the PTO for providing a wonderful breakfast, a welcome back breakfast to all of the educators, all of the staff here on that very first day. The staff actually came back on Monday, so thank you to everyone to come here, show up, say goodbye to summer, and welcome everyone back here. So thank you. Okay. So I think we're going to move just a couple items up. We've got David List here who's going to, we have something further on down about the handbook, so I thought we'd move him up on the agenda just so he can talk about his stuff and we can let him go.
We should have a document that outlines a couple of handbook edits.
Yeah, it's in a folder.
So we just made a couple of edits to the handbook. For this year, we will We're working, just so everybody knows here, working with the committee of teachers on larger handbook edits that are more impactful with the new schedule for 26-27. So this will be a little bit longer of a presentation next year with the new schedule, but this year we just clarified some language around makeup work because before it kind of left everything sort of open-ended. And students had sort of different rules in different classes for when they were sick for a week. So now it just articulates that students will have as many days to make up as they were out in their classes if it's an excused or verified absence if they're sick. So that just sort of aligned things for students there. The next is a little bit larger of a change for us, which is our directed study block. I will admit it's been a challenge the past couple of years, but thanks to Dr. Kalev and Mr. Levasseur, who have really put in a lot of hours on the back end, and Jody Renee and Dan in sort of building our back end so that we can schedule students into directed study block locations. Students are allowed to pick which teacher of theirs that they want to be with. There are some restrictions on that regarding, certain grade. If they have been on a passing grade in a certain class, then they would have to stay in that class. Our goal really is to make the directed study block a space where students are getting the extra help that they need or spending extra time with their teachers. The staff has been wonderful in helping us trying to implement that. A few grumblings from the students. It's a change, which is understandable. But just in the past day or two of seeing it has been pretty cool to see it actually working. We have a few kinks to work out, but the directed study block change just sort of outlines the new process. And just for those here, basically students have until 10 a.m. Each day to pick where they want to be that day for directed study block. So those are the two changes. I do have one other thing that I'd like to bring up, but I wanted to answer questions about these first, if anybody had any.
If they don't do it at 10 a.m., what happens?
So then they get scheduled into the class that they're sitting in for second period. 10 a.m. is the time when they can, like if you're in English but you need to go see your math teacher, you have until 10 a.m. to change where you are. So switch from your English class to,
Just keeps you where.
Otherwise it just keeps you where you're scheduled to be.
Under teacher override, where it says a teacher can require you to stay in your second period class or require that you be a specific one, does that mean you mean in a specific one?
Sorry, I can just edit that.
Just a typo?
Just a typo, yeah. So we have teachers that like share rooms, the teacher in places, so it's meant to say that basically the teacher can require you to stay where you are, or a teacher can require that you move because if we have a student who needs to make something up and they have to actually move, I can fix that. That's just a typo there.
How did you decide on D or F rather than say C minus?
Closest to the F, I guess, was where it is. I mean, the idea being, when you actually look at like final grades and look at grades, we don't have that many Ds and Fs. Honestly, if you actually look at the breakdown of grades, really the goal with this is really for students to have time to be in their class. Normally, when they have Ds or Fs, a lot of it has to do with missing homework. Those type of pieces, you can really fix a grade with getting your work in on time and doing all the work that's asked to be amazingly. So it's really a chance for the student to be there. Obviously, you could do C's, C minus. This is kind of a pilot run and trying to put something in place to see if it makes an impact in that way. And obviously, D's and F's can mean different things. You could have one bad test, and then you have a D or an F. I think the idea was just for us to think about that at any given moment there are students who really need to be in certain places getting that support, and this is just a space where we could start in how we think about that.
No, I think it's a great step. I was just curious.
Well, no, I mean, but it is a good question because it's really, there is more reasons that a student would need to be in a specific place. So it's actually an important question to ask. I think for us, this was just a starting point, and a piece of data of where to start that's readily available to students and teachers and parents to see. So the other question I had and would like to bring up is, as you know, we switched to 81-minute classes this year, and before I put in the handbook, I thought I'd open it up to questions here, which is the idea that for the seniors at Holliston High, that if they had a substitute teacher, that they would be allowed to have open campus. They would be allowed to leave for that period and not be in the school building. You know, as we talk about like the gradual release of responsibility, thinking about them going off into college, it more mirrors what they will experience their freshman year. Our teachers do a wonderful job of putting everything up on Google Classroom, and you know, it's something that our main office staff get dozens of calls, not obviously today or yesterday, but dozens and dozens of calls a day once we get into the year when a teacher is absent for their kids to get dismissed. It is probably our number one dismissal reason in the building is not sickness, but is a teacher is absent and they're sending their senior home. And so with that being said, just the idea came about really taking the opportunity to say, you know what, that's happening anyway. And just an idea in terms of travel and equity, out of our 200, little over 200 seniors, we handed out over 180 parking passes. So the majority, more than the majority of our seniors are driving to campus. Most of them are getting dismissed when they have a sub. And so to alleviate some of the pressures on our front office staff and to, you know, give those students responsibility that they're going to see later, wanted to bring up that idea and to, you know, answer any questions and something that I would obviously have to bring forward in the handbook as a vote later on, but I wanted to hear your thoughts on it this evening possibly.
Sarah, can I just say something?
Sure.
David has talked to me about this, and I support the premise of it. You all know that when we've changed some of the procedures, I've come across with the school safety and my concerns with the open campus. So I was just wondering if there's a way, if they do go that route, is there a way to better ensure that kids do have to swipe in or swipe out with it? Because I think that's been something I've been really concerned about, just so that we know where they are at all times during, you know, already they're leaving on Fridays, so if we could come up with a better system, make sure that's happening. And I think you started some of that.
So I asked Dan McLeod and Spencer Carlin to look into ways for students to use their IDs so they could just scan in or out, because we do have to know who would be leaving, because obviously if there's an emergency in the building, we need to know that they're not here.
I think it's a great idea. You know, having had 4 go through quite recently, I agree with you that when, you know, the kids have a phone and they will often text you, my next 2 classes don't have teachers, can I come home so I can, you know, work on a paper or I think it's happening, and I think it makes a lot of sense, at least for seniors at this point.
Yeah.
And it's not, this isn't something that, there are other schools that do this, I believe, right? I think
Many schools.
Yes.
I mean, I will say the movement started because most schools couldn't find substitute teachers. So they had to find ways to what to do. I mean, for us, I think really it's about, this is happening constantly. Once teachers are out now, I'm sure you may have gotten texts like that, but like the 2 of you may have gotten them recently, like last year. But it is something that happens constantly where the office is just getting inundated with calls and just the kids are being dismissed constantly.
something in the Google Classroom or assignments for them to do, something for them to do, but they would simply do it at home.
Switching to an independent study.
Yeah, I mean, there's still expectations that Google Classroom teachers are really good about putting up their assignments or what the kids have to do. So.
In mixed classes where you have underclassmen in there as well, would there still be a substitute assigned to the class and all that? They wouldn't be given a free pass just because they're classing me and the seniors.
No.
My one concern or question here is if students have a substitute for like a morning class, but not for the afternoon, will we see a spike in absenteeism for those afternoon classes?
So what I'll say right now is that many of our teachers will get notes to the students that they're not here, like in the morning, and they'll know about that, so they don't show up anyway for that period. in talking to other principals around, they don't really see that spike. But one of the pieces that would definitely go into the language in the handbook around this is that this is a privilege, not a right. And so that, monitoring students' attendance around this. Because we also know senior slide and senioritis and all of that, we still have to monitor. They're still kids, but still need to monitor what they're doing. But this is more coming up because it's sort of what's already happening within the buildings.
I like it. I think that it might be something that we explore for juniors, maybe even at least in the second half of the year. Obviously, how things go with the seniors.
Yes.
But, it just seems like a good idea.
So what I would like to do then is I can write up what the rules would look like around that, and I'm happy to bring that back here to then share and answer any more questions about it.
Do we need to vote on the
Oh, sorry, on that. Sorry.
changes as well?
Can I mention one thing that is not here? You had asked about all the handbooks, and the only changes made in the other 3 handbooks was related to Title IX. As you recall, the changes in the federal regulations have reverted back, so I didn't bring the language with me. It's really the old language, but if you recall, that would be the change, and he is changing back to that language as well.
Okay. Should we, so I guess I'll entertain a motion to approve the
So moved.
current handbook changes? Yeah. Okay. All in favor? That carries. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then do you want him to bring the other language back to the next meeting? Or just
Sure, whenever.
I'll bring
Yeah,
that up, yeah.
that'd be great. Thank you.
If maybe you could just send it to us a couple days in advance.
Yeah.
And then if the chair, through the chair, if we don't have any questions, then we don't need to come back.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
That's just sort of.
Yeah.
That would,
Yeah, that sounds
Say-
good.
just-
Because we've already talked about it,
Keep my
so
streak going from last year.
we love having you here.
Thank you.
Yes.
Have a good night.
Thank you so much. Good night.
But you're welcome to come. It's an open meeting. But I was just trying to,
Which,
I don't know, sir, if you like that
Bring the
idea or not.
substitute.
yeah, yes.
Can we put-
Yep, yep. Is it it's the
The,
substitute rates?
Yes, personnel E.
Okay, so next we'll talk about the substitute rates so we can let you go as well. So if you want to come and. Is this,
So, did you have something to speak, or do you want us to just?
Let me just
Okay.
introduce myself. I'm Kim Marsden.
Okay.
I'm the nurse leader this year for the Holliston Public Schools. And we were talking over the summer about hopefully some changes that we can make to substitute pay. We have a long-term sub position open in nursing that we've had no hits. A couple of things there. It's a long-term sub, so people are a little concerned about, what will happen next year. Is their job security? But the other reason I've been asking many people, many other nurses, the pay is a large issue that we have, and so. Honestly, I've been working on it all summer, and some of you are aware with a lot of emails, and I'm really stuck and looking for some help to try to attract more nurses for the sub positions. That includes helping us do screenings and field trips, and if we're ever sick. Having some backup for that also. And we're just not getting submissions to fill these positions. So right now the long-term sub position is in Miller. All our nurses' offices are extremely busy. And to have just one nurse is really not safe, I guess is the best way to say it. So we've been working together and trying to think of some ideas as to how we could get some more people. Right now, for example, Miller has 4 field trips, end of September, beginning of October, and I cannot get any nurses to go on the field trips. So that is quite concerning. So anyways, I will turn it back.
Yes, so we did discuss, Dr. Bill and I were talking with you.
Yes.
As well, about the long-term sub-rates in particular. So I think you will hear us bring up during the priority needs again this year that we do want to make that 1.5 position, which was at the high school last year, the LTS has moved to the Miller just for staffing reasons. However, budgetarily, we still only have it as an LTS for that reason, and we will be proposing that during the budget process, that we do want to get that finalized permanently for all the reasons you're citing. But at the moment, we do want to at least ask you to consider increasing the long-term sub-rate just for nurses right now to $300 a day, so that the 0.5 position would be $150 a day at this point, in the hope that we can at least fill it for the long term. And then moving forward, the hope would be that we can appropriate it in the budget for next year as a permanent 0.5 position. So that would be the school committees, and I'm happy to answer questions on Dr. Bowman about that.
Yeah, and just we reviewed this in the budget earlier today, and obviously we haven't had a chance to give that update, but I don't think we officially voted on it, but I think we were supportive in concept of it. We think that it makes sense. We looked at the comps for surrounding towns, and we think that this will make us more competitive and hopefully allow you to fill those roles.
So the long-term position, just so I'm clear, I'm sure I'll have some text later on, is $300.
Or the full day, if it's a long-term sub position for nurses, yes. If they vote, I mean, they've not voted yet.
And then as far as subs, is there any change there, or?
We did not put forward a proposal at this time for that.
Okay.
I think Dr. Jordan and I would be happy to speak with you further if we see this as ongoing concern, then we could come back at a later date.
Absolutely.
We didn't see that as I was not hearing that as a huge problem last year. We had enough subs in the rotation, but we do need to talk about, those field trips have to be approved. So we haven't seen those come through yet, so we need more information on that.
I think what we talked about a little bit in budget sub, but also Dr. Guskin and I talked about, we know that these are a tough budgetary time, and we don't come forth with this change lightly, and we see this as an essential need for nursing, and the needs of Miller at this time to kind of fill that, and for us to be competitive for these positions and active openings that we have.
Thank you all.
Ready for the motion?
Yep.
So I'll make a motion to increase the long-term sub-rate from $250 a day to $300 a day for nurses for the current school year and going forward.
Second by Dawn. All in favor? That carries 7-0.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, shall we return to,
Back in order again?
yeah, back in order? So I think
I'll-
that comes to you.
Yes. So we're excited to be back for the school year. It's been a very busy early starts for all of us here, getting our little ones especially off today. My first kindergartner out of the car was crying. I felt very badly, my heartstrings, but I did get him safely into the building, and then I did shortly thereafter have a preschool crying, but most of them were very comfortable coming in with us, and they had a great start to the day. I did send out a message today that you probably saw, just thanking people for their patience, because today certainly was our most challenging day. Yesterday was incredibly smooth, I thought, almost, knock on wood, I was pleasantly surprised, given the changes we've made, particularly to Pleasantine and Miller, and that today we knew to anticipate that it was going to be challenging, so I do appreciate the patience of all the people involved, all the parents, and having to wait. and staff that had to stay, that don't normally, are not required to, so we appreciate that. I did want to also just take a quick moment of silence to acknowledge the shootings in Minneapolis, and I sent out a message about that as well. Thank you. As you know, the school safety is of a paramount importance to us, and we continue to revise each year. We review and revise, and we may come back to you in the future with other safety proposals when we meet with our safety committee. But we are so far pleased with how things are going here in Holliston. For personnel updates, we are also pleasantly surprised that our openings are far less than they have been in the previous years. We, as you know, we had been challenged with finding enough paraprofessionals, and we frequently, this is not just unique to Holliston, this is everywhere. The turnover in paraprofessionals over the summer, some of them that have been paraprofessionals and are moving into a teacher position, so it's, we know that we're going to see a lot of turnover in the summer, and it's happening all year long at this time. But right now, and tomorrow I may have a different number, but at the moment, and actually I checked this afternoon, so that could have changed too. 1.5 positions open at Placentino, 2 at Miller, 1 at Rams, and there are 4 at the high school, but they are managing at the moment. They had 6 and they're down, they had 2 filled, but one day it's 3, so that number is constantly changing, but I feel that compared to where we were last year and the year previously, that's really strong to have that filled. And as far as open educator positions, Placentino has 1 permanent building sub, so that's also promising that we've been able to fill, because we had added different additional permanent building subs over the years. I think we have 3 at the high school and middle school, is that correct? So we used to have 2 and then 1, so that's also significant. Miller, we already mentioned the LTS .5 nurse position, and Rams currently has a after school starting resignation, so we have 1 special ed position open at this time. But again, really promising. I just had met with the new Montessori teacher at Miller, so she's already started, and I just met with the French-Spanish teacher at Rams, so he just started today. So we have teachers in front of students, and most people really need to be, so that's great to hear. I did also want to just share with you, and I thank you, Sarah, for joining us in Dan the other day. We had a very low-key, but I think worthwhile opening to school this year. We invited Dr. Peg Dawson to come in and speak with staff, and she had a very concrete opening about her experience working with students and teens that struggle and of all ages, and the executive skills that they need to perform, like all of us, the daily routines that we do, and how important it is for us to tune as educators and develop relationships with students, but also not jump to judgment, so that when a child is acting behaviorally or seeming unmotivated, trying to find out the underlying reason for that and some little tidbits that we can use. And the reason we brought her in is because she's coming back in January for a full day, half a day with elementary, half a day with secondary, and she's going to really dive in deep and connect this theme for us about little things we can do to support all students and hopefully help them then be able to perform academically as a result of those little tidbits about information. She's a school psychologist. She's worked for many years, and she has multiple awards. She's also an author, so you can look for her books as well. I sent that out, I think, to you, so you have the information on that. But, again, it was low key, but I thought very well received. We received a lot of compliments, and thanks from staff for that information. And that's all I have for now.
Okay. In front of you, you have a memo regarding the PRISM grant. And I sent out a communication to the community, but I just wanted to acknowledge that we did receive $224,200 for the Partnership for Reading Success grant. We are on track 2, and on the back of this, it does give you details of the breakdown of our budget. But just to let everybody know a little bit more, these grants that were awarded across the state are funded through Governor Healy's literacy launch, Reading Success from age 3 to grade 3. And all these grants are designed to help districts strengthen early literacy instruction, helping equip students with the reading and writing skills necessary for academic success and lifelong learning. Huge shout out to Jenny Mann, who helped write this grant, and Ilsa O'Brien, who also helped write the grant. Really excited. We've already met with some people. Part of this grant, we are continuing to do the Implement Curriculum Review Network through DESE. So very exciting news. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Next, I'm going to do it out of order, and then Dan can bring up the next. I gave you 2 samples of 2 draft report cards, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about this. So beginning in October of October 2024, we started to meet a standards-based report card committee for just the elementary schools. On that committee, myself, Dr. Slaney, Principal Kime, Assistant Principal Morrow, Jenny Mann, Natasha Merton, a teacher, Aaron Snyder, a teacher, Michael Glenn, a teacher, and Carrie Perpal, a teacher. So we've been meeting quite regularly, just to kind of take you very briefly through the process. So we started with the need that we have for a standards-based report card. And we really tied it to the strategic plan, linking it back to we need to improve our communication regarding standards and how students are doing, and also how we use data to inform our teaching and learning. So everything is tied back to our plan. The committee, spent a lot of time reviewing current report cards that were used last year for all grades. And then we reviewed other districts' report cards, and we used a rubric to rate those report cards. We looked at clarity of learning standards, personalization and feedback options, ease of use for teachers, parents, and students, visual design and structure, and a grading scale. We then ranked those report cards by category. We identified key strengths that we liked, weaknesses, and interesting features from all those samples. And then we worked with teachers identifying the power standards they wanted to have on the report card. So teachers had a huge say in that. We then identified the performance indicators we wanted to use, how we were going to rank them, and also the social emotional learning progression. And we were very conscious and had very rich dialogue around, okay, what does it look like for a first grader? What does it look like a second grader? And really took that, that thread through. We got teacher feedback all along the way. And then thanks to Dan McLeod and Jody Renee Harrington for working with us on all of our out there ideas. And they came up with, here are 2 samples. These are in draft form. Please realize that we do need to make some corrections. We wanted to show them to you guys, though. If you look at the first grade report card, you can see at the top, there's performing. You can see it says right here what grade it is on the top. And Jody, Renee, and Dan set up Muppets, made up Muppet names, right? So we're not disclosing anybody. But you can see there's academic performance indicators. Those are the same for all of the elementary school, pre-K through 5. And then our social emotional learning performance indicators, the same for all elementary school students. And then you can see, this is just one sample, under grade 1 on the left, you have literacy, and then you go to the right, you have social studies, you have math, go to your second page, you have continuation of math, then you have the social emotional items that are going to be graded, and then you have unified arts. So we have art, music, PE, wellness, and science. I wanted to give you the 5th grade one because it's a French immersion example, so you guys can see the difference. So the other one, you can look, it's Gonger Muppet, and you can see it's the same on top, the academic performance indicators, the social emotional learning performance indicators. But if you look there on the front page, the left-hand column, you have French fluency checklist, and you can see we have oral language skills, cultural knowledge and understanding, and linguistic comparisons. This came out of the World Language Curriculum Review. and a lot of world language teachers had say on that. Our standards for world language has changed, and we are really going to dig deep into that, and we're going to look at bringing that down to the younger grades potentially next year. And then you can see here they have literacy underneath that, then they have math. Go to the next page. You have a continuation of math, then you have science, social studies, writing enrichment, and then you have the unified arts underneath there. So for grade 5, you have art, digital learning, health, PE, music, technology, and engineering. And then you have the social emotional learning standards underneath there too. The social emotional learning standards are all based on Castle's concept, which is a very well-known way of measuring how students are doing. We did put it in parent-friendly language, though. This committee is continuing on. Next week, Dan and Jody Renee are coming, and we're reviewing for any last-minute changes. Once we get this settled, we will be having informational sessions for parents. We will be making a digital landing page that has videos in it and tons of information. But we're really, really excited to show you guys this. It's very comprehensive. It's much more connected than what it was before. The teachers had been asking for new report cards for years. So they're really excited for this. So I just wanted to share this with you. These will be used this school year.
Is it possible to share, doesn't with you right now, but
Yeah.
for these new folks, like what the current one looks like, so we can see versus
What the what?
current one looks like?
Oh, sure.
To have that comparison.
Sure.
that'd be helpful.
Sure.
I actually just pulled up one of my daughters because I had that same question.
Yes, yeah, I
and
definitely
I actually really
can do
like
that.
the new one, the yearly progress that was added, because I know as a parent with the old one, sometimes it looked like they were going down, but it was like the skill had increased, and
Right.
so that yearly sort of summary, I think, is great.
And
They get this 3
Montessori-
times a year?
Yes.
3 report cards.
Yes.
Does Montessori have a separate one, or is there?
No, they will have the same, same standards. Yep. I just want to show you the French one just because it is a little different, right? Okay, and then last, if Dan can bring up the presentation, please. Let's have a short, it's mainly pictures, so you guys can see of what was happening for us. Let's go on to the second slide, please. For new staff orientation, it happened on August 18th and 19th. And instead of having pictures, these were slides of what we talked about at the presentations were on day 1. So you can see in the...
Sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, okay. The top left, Dr. Kuska kicked us off with everybody there. And then we went over the strategic plan. Jerry L. talked about safe and supportive schools. Dr. Cataldo went on to student services and informed them. Dan and his team went over technology overview, where they also got their Chromebooks. And then finally, Dr. Jordan went over finance and operations. We also had a bus tour that was very well received, so getting feedback. And learned a lot about Holliston. Just so you guys know, on day 1, we had 13 paras attend, 12 teachers. It's throwing me off, sorry. The administrators, all central administrators, and curriculum leaders. All central came, all principals came during lunchtime, and they met them. On day 2, 11 teachers attended and 4 mentors. If you can go to the next slide, Dan. So on day 2, it's just for teachers. And on day 2, we got into details that only the teachers need. So it was about evaluation. It was about Teach Point, which is what we use to house our evaluations in, so they know how to navigate that. And then also Jerry L. talked about safe and supportive schools and what we're doing in Holliston. Give you a little bit of taste of that. You can move on, please. Staff's first day, and Dr. Kuska talked a little bit about it. You can see a little bit there on the first two pictures. Thanks to the PTO, there's breakfast that a lot of people took advantage of. We had the union there sharing contracts and lots of different information there. And then just some pictures of smiling faces and some of the curriculum team right there. Some more pictures that we had speakers. So Dr. Kuska kicked us off. Peg Dawson was there. Chair Sarah Fitzgerald also presented, along with Jamie Catone, union president, and she had a meeting afterwards. And you can go on to the, oh, I'm sorry, if you can go on to the next slide. That's what I mentioned. So we have Dr. Kuska, Peg Dawson, Sarah Fitzgerald, Chair Fitzgerald, and Jamie Catone. If you can go on to the next one. Okay, so you can go on, look at the first day. So it was really exciting to see people coming in all sorts of different ways. We had bikers, we had walkers, we had people coming in cars. You can go to the next slide, please. And then the normal way that people were taking buses. You saw administrators, all sorts of different places all over the place. Just so you know, all of Central does go that whole first week, and we're assigned to different spots and help out, so it goes a little bit smoother. You can go to the next slide, please. And a huge shout out to HCAT that did a really nice video for high school's first day of school. It's only 1 minute and 47 seconds. So Dan, if you could play that, please. They do always have a band the first day, Comfort Dogs.
Hi, this is Mr. List, principal at Holliston High School. I just want to welcome everybody back from summer. I hope they had a great summer. We're very excited for the 25-26 school year and all that we have in store for all the students. Welcome to our freshmen. And we had a great senior sunrise this morning, and congratulations to our seniors. Looking forward to celebrating you throughout the year. And again, just want to wish everybody a great year at Holliston High School.
And I apologize, I was just asking Dr. Kuska, I am sorry I cannot remember the gentleman's name right now that brings the Comfort Dogs every year.
Drawing a blank, and I just saw him yesterday.
Yeah, I
but-
can't. I apologize, but they do come. I'm sorry?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And-
I apologize.
And we had Spencer and in the past, and now we have
Yes.
the new dog, which I didn't get to see them yesterday. Usually I get to greet them, but we were so busy with our little
Elementaries,
this
yeah.
year that we did not.
So that just gives you a brief glimpse, but I just want you to see all the smiles. Really nice start to the school year.
So transportation, first thing I've got, I got some good news, is Woodland Street Bridge will be open tomorrow at 3 p.m. Whoa. Yeah. I was thinking like 3 weeks from now after they, the people that were putting the final touches on the railings drilled into the water main. The pictures of it and when I was down there looking at the bridge then made me pretty nervous as far as things. That said, having the bridge being closed these last 3 days and then the fourth day being tomorrow, transportation has still gone above expectation, to tell you the truth, on what I thought. So I've been pleasantly very pleased with how things are going. we have delays, but they're expected delays, and we're not looking at colossal delays in certain locations. We're still looking at the types of delays you see when you pick up kindergartners and everybody wants a photo with their child, and you get those kind of delays as a result. So we're looking at 5 to 10 minute delays, not 20 and 30 minute delays that we've had in the past. We do still have plenty of buffer space as our ability to create some additional time if we needed to address some delays. Right now, our earliest bus time is still after 7 o'clock for a pickup, so we're doing, in most cases, a 25 to 30 minute run is what we're trying to do, and we've built in the ability to add in up to a 50-minute run to still be within our time constraints that we're looking at. So as far as addressing busing, it comes in 3 shifts. You have the first day of school, which has its immediate delays. You wait another day and see what works its way out, and we had a big, successful second day of school as far as the timing of the second day. The third day, which was today, was kindergarten and preschool, the first time that comes. So you see another bubble up of transportation, which we saw a little bit. And we had some issues on Woodland with the preschool drop-off, and so some things that we need to kind of do with that, which we'll address tomorrow. So we should see a drop in our times for transportation tomorrow, and then we should see some settling a little bit by Tuesday of next week. I'll probably make some, if there are some trends that continue tomorrow, I might make some adjustments tomorrow, but I will definitely make my hope is to only change pickup times for families at bus stops once and do it right the first time if we need to make any adjustments there. We did have 5 buses last night that we did make adjustments to their routes because they were already showing consistency and being late, and we knew that kindergarten was only going to complicate that, so we decided to immediately do those, and then we'll make any final adjustments either tomorrow afternoon or sometime on Tuesday after those routes settle. I kind of want to see what happens when the bridge is open, which that won't be the first test until Tuesday. So I'm leaning more towards making those adjustments on Tuesday afternoon after the first arrival on Tuesday.
Can I add one thing before you move on? I shouldn't know if you won't go. I did want to add to your transportation comment about the bridge, just to clarify publicly, because Jamie Slaney and I were talking about this today. Some parents wanted to know that if once the bridge is open, does that mean the transportation procedures at Placerville Miller are changing? No. The bridge is for the buses to use. The transportation still has to go out to the right. There's lots of reasons for that to streamline. So just want to clarify, the bridge being shut down had nothing to do with the routes. That's still going to be in play for the whole year, unless something changes and we come up with a better plan.
Yeah, I mean, if there was ever a silver lining to a drill going through a water main, one silver lining to that is that like a closed off traffic in one direction, and so we kind of create a trained behavior as far as like how we turn one way in there, and because no one was trying to turn left, everybody's trying to turn right, so we did have a few days to kind of do that. I would be remiss if not to just thank Dr. Slaney, Mr. Kime, Brenda Morrow, Cheryl Lassie, Cheryl Cordero for all the work that they've done in putting everything together. Our teachers and staff for assisting and kind of getting our little ones and youngest ones into our buildings. I've also been very appreciative of Chief Stone in the Holliston Police Department. They've really been a presence out in the community to kind of help with traffic and kind of move that along as well. So that's been very, very nice and very appreciative. Thinking about some of our projects, MSBA, so we're looking at our roofing project that we have. I have been in communication over the last couple of weeks with the MSBA. They likely will not announce their roofing projects until after their October 29th meeting, which means that we will not know before the fall town meeting as far as the award. What I will say, and kind of the work James Keast and I, who's the director of facilities for the town, is that we've had more back and forth than either of us remember as far as in the past. So we're hoping that's an optimistic feature for us. We did, however, find out that we're not eligible for reimbursement for the middle school roof as a completed project. I did learn that earlier today. So we are looking for kind of like the elementary school project as far as getting a partial cost of that. Capital updates. So the track looking great. That's all set, and we're monitoring kind of its integrity and what's going on there. We also, with Dan, who really assisted with the majority of that project, is our lighting project at the high school and completing that piece, which was exciting. And I don't know if you wanted to elaborate any more on kind of our lighting project.
Sure. I've got a quick video if you want to see it, but pictures. But I just shout out to Jim Shepard, our electrician. He was instrumental, very instrumental in the project as far as keeping the costs down. I'll just show you two things. We had a training last Friday. Let's get my computer. Okay. This is a group of people that were trained. I was there for a little bit, and it went a little too deep for me in the soundboard. But you can see that's called a sight, in case anyone's in theater. That basically a giant white sheet in the back of the stage. So we had always struggled to get the spotlights on that and the lighting correct. So this is an example of the new LED lights showing the red on there. But you can see there's a bunch of people here, including about 4 students. And we have one senior in particular that's very savvy with the light board, so we're going to rely on them for some of these events. This is our vendor, took this video, he just showing what some of the capabilities of the new lighting.
Dan, I'll just say that a staff member came up to me at opening day. They said that the new system is awesome. So, very pleased with it. So.
Great.
That's great.
So yeah, it's all completed except for a couple of, we have new panels in the auditorium, so the administrators can turn on the lights, like 50% power, 25% power, the house lights. It's very nice. But it's just missing a couple of pieces, and so he's coming back to finish that. It's very minor stuff. All the major stuff is done. If you ever want to see what it used to look like, I've got those pictures too.
No.
But again, shout out to Jim Shepard and David Jordan's team, really instrumental in all this.
The school choice, so we ended up registered, so we had 41 seats that the school committee approved for school choice. 26 were filled for the fall. That is so that you have kind of an understanding of where we are. We graduated 15, and then we had an attrition of an additional 6, so we're up an additional 5 that we have there in school choice. Our target is to, we're not trying to target with the open seats that we've got, but we're trying to stay within the range that we are. We were able to fill several seats within kindergarten French immersion, which have been carrying some lower numbers out of kindergarten, and that's kind of a primary location that you want to do. And we were even able to put a couple into French immersion from first grade as well, out of school choice, and round out those numbers. But all in all, as far as what we've accepted, this is what we were hoping for. That's.
Sarah, before I move on to the stipend position, I did want to, I neglected to introduce Dr. B.J. Cataldo as our interim student services director. I think you all had met her over the summer, but people have not seen her yet, so welcome Barbara to the table. And Barbara has indicated that she would like to be attending these meetings as much as possible because she wants to be able to be here as questions arise. So I have no problem with it if she wants to attend. So just wanted to know that she will be here whenever possible.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Welcome. Thank you.
Did you have anything that you wanted to share from your opening?
Well, I will say everybody's been wonderful. I came in, I think I shared that these are the cleanest schools I have ever seen on opening day. You should be really proud of the staff that worked in this horrible heat this summer to make this happen. The staff has been wonderful. I'm still getting up to speed now that we're all back in one place. I will say to the opening, I met more members of the community who were so patient with me because as the new person, I couldn't figure out what line they needed to get in today, which is part of the backup, I'm sure. But nonetheless, I had more fist pumps and more high fives from the kids, all excited that when I would wave to them, they rolled the window down. So I thought that was a good sign. We have a lot of work for ourselves this year. We're really excited. We start the work, really get into the work next week. So after that, I'll be reporting out as I start to meet with all of the various constituents and stakeholders throughout the district and regularly, weekly being in the schools to see what's happening. So thank you.
Okay, to move on?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Gonna keep going.
We got the stipends, yes.
So for those of you who have not been part of this process, we haven't actually voted stipends in a couple of years. We had one year that we had a lot of new stipends. If you look in the back of the teacher's contract, there's quite a few stipends in there. We don't necessarily fill all of them, and at some point, if we don't fill them for a number of years, we may end up taking them out. But what we do try to do is each year not go beyond the monetary allotments. Typically, Dr. Jordan will let the principals know how much they can fund the stipends, and they will stay within that parameter. So even as we potentially add new stipends, it doesn't mean it's going to cost more money overall because they know that we can't just keep adding to the budget. So often it's because they're taking away something that they're not filling. And that's why you'll see these stipends come forward as a need as we go on. So it has been a couple of years since I presented new stipends. And typically I would be presenting these in the spring. What happens is that it gets piloted normally at the beginning of the year, which would have been last year. The teachers piloted these. And then the principal recommends to me for consideration, and then if it moves forward, I end up meeting with the union and we negotiate the factors to this. It's a very complicated process, so if you have specific questions, Dr. Jordan can speak to it better than I, but we factor in the time, the responsibility, and experience, and that equates to the numbers that the staff would get to take these stipend positions. But due to the fact that Karen Manning was new last year, she was a little unfamiliar with the process, so I didn't want the staff to be penalized and not be able to, they're doing the work. So, for example, the corner closet advisor, the staff member took that over last year as a pilot, and they were not getting paid for it. And if we didn't move it forward now, they would not get paid for a second year, which is unfair for all the work they're putting out. And Jamie Catone, as the HFT president, was willing to also modify those timelines as long as you agreed to vote for this. So you'll see the Corner Closet is a program where people donate clothing, and then the students help organize it, and they have to man the closet after school for people to come in, and sometimes it's closed for interviews or just whatever occasion. So it's been a nice charitable opportunity for some of our students to attend. So that stipend, if you look at it, it says that the stipend would be $1,877.22. That would be the first year stipend, but then each year, if the same staff member takes it over, we would add a year of experience, and that becomes another $312.87 annually. But anytime it's a new person, it would just be a factor of 1 for experience. Do you want me to go through all of them and vote at once, or how do you want to manage them?
Maybe go through all.
Okay. And then the next one is the assistant musical director. Again, this is a position where we found out recently that we have had an assistant musical director, and that was not brought forward as a stipend position because it was being generously funded by our booster program. They were helping to pay this person because it required a lot of time. However, it really should be funded by the school appropriated budget. It's not really fair to be asking those. We want our boosters and our PTO to be funding things that should not be funded by the schools that are more enrichment. So in fairness, this really does need to come back to the school. We really can't be funding them that way equitably. So we put forward, and again, I met with Jamie Catone and Karen Manning, and these are the factors that we came up with for the assistant musical director program. The third one is JV Golf. That is not a new stipend. However, The program has increased in demand, and it has required more time. So I think it was a factor of 2 for time last year, and there was a request for it to increase by 1 for time. And that's why it was, I believe, 4.2 last year, and we're asking for 5.2 consideration before the experience. And I did reach out to Matt Baker as well. He was in agreement, so Jamie Catone and I did sign off on that if you're in agreement to vote that in.
Sure.
I'll pause there for the stipends. Wanted to make a motion on that.
Any questions on any of this?
Those are yearly, or how are those time-based?
Each year, yes. Each year we post all of them, and then anyone can apply for them. But some of them do, continue on. Sometimes the same person will request to be part of that.
So I'll make a motion to approve the stipend for corner closet, assistant musical director, and the JV golf at the high school. Second. Sorry, assistant musical director of the Rams.
All in favor? That carries 7-0.
Thank you. And then you have in your packet a math tutor job description. As you know, we have had math tutors at the elementary campus, and we did manage to appropriate in the budget last year for a math tutor at the middle school, which is a really important position, working in conjunction with our STEM curriculum specialist interventionist, Carla. And this person will now be supporting students with the interventions as well. I was asked, even though this is actually part of the paraprofessional contract and there's no requirement to have a job description on, whereas it's different in the teacher contract, that doesn't mean it's not important to do so. So I was more than willing to work with Jamie. I gave her this job description that I put together. I met with the principals and got their input, and then there was some tweaking made, and she did agree to sign that as well if you're okay with it or want to recommend changes.
Any questions on the math tutor?
Motion to approve. Motion to approve the job description of the math tutor.
All in favor? That carries 7-0. Great. So we're moving right along. Thank you. So reports from subcommittees. So I guess we'll start with communications.
We will schedule a first meeting before the next meeting.
Excellent. And then policy.
We scheduled our first meeting for September 8th.
Budget.
Okay, so the overachieving budget subcommittee has already had a meeting.
Yeah, look at us.
We had our first meeting of the year this afternoon at 4 o'clock. We discussed a number of things that some of which may come before you. We're obviously into the capital season. Town meeting is closed upon us. Unfortunately, while we have town meeting, we don't have a lot of money. So we're working on that. But one is a proposal that we're going to discuss about putting solar on the Adams roof and the Placentino roofs. There's a build versus lease or own versus lease option, and the savings, I'll say, are not nothing, but are not eye-popping. But then there's a secondary effect of being more socially and environmentally responsible.
Sustainable.
There we go. Sustainable. There you go.
And a comparison was done between 25-year lease and owning.
They're still working on the numbers. There are a lot of assumptions that go into it. For something as pretty standard as something you would think would be output rate, there's a lot more to it. But there's a real sort of push now to do it because of the sunset of the tax incentives as part of the big beautiful bill. We have a request to look at doing some work on the softball field that we have to look at. It right now is just design engineering, but then there would be a larger ask.
The high school softball.
High school softball field. We've done a lot of work on the baseball field, so looking at the softball field. And then there are a number of other capital requests that we're looking at. Unfortunately, we just there's not a lot of capital money, so we may have to be selective in what we do. The good news with at least with the solar is if we choose, it's not as it's not as it doesn't save us as much money if we lease, but it does. The upfront costs are almost zero. So you could theoretically do that without having to put money in. But there's the big priority of also getting the Constantino Miller roof fixed and making sure that our schools are not raining on teachers and students. So I don't know where everyone else is, but that's kind of my priority, is to make sure that we get that fixed.
And you said the solar roof was for Rams and Placentino.
Rams and Placentino.
Not looking at Miller at this time.
There was a report some number of years ago that said the Miller roof could not support solar panels. So we could relook at that at some point, but at least at this point. But we had not seen numbers for Rams. They've kind of told us how to interpolate, but we have not actually seen numbers. Let's see. We went over the final numbers for the budget for last year. We finished at zero. We spent all of the money that we got from the town. And let's see. We also I attended a CPC meeting last week to discuss the flag field project. They're still deliberating. I guess that they're meeting on the 9th for a final vote, I think.
Yes.
On whether to support that project or not. But along with that can't be supported by CPC because of legal reasons, would be a sort of a redoing of that driveway that we now use that was sort of patched to get us through at least this year. So there may need to be a capital request for that. And then we discussed the PRISM grant that Dr. Menard went through, and it was a $225,000 grant is quite a substantial win for the district. So we thank everyone involved in that. And then we ran out of time. So more work to be done. I will say that over the summer I had some conversations with the town finance committee chair about the preliminary look at the 2027 budget, and it's very, very early, but it's looking very, very tight for us. So budgeting this year is going to be a challenge all around. So just stay tuned. That's all.
Nothing at this time.
And then we've got some old business, just an update on the superintendent search process.
Yep, so we published the RFP in early August for the search firm. Did not receive any proposals. Given the amount we were looking at, working with James Key, so thank you, James, to get the process kicked off, we don't need to reissue the RFP, so we've started reaching out to firms directly. We've received interest in a proposal from one. It is in everyone's packet. I think at this point, we're going to reach out to a few more. And then by next meeting, I think we need to have on the agenda a discussion on where we want to go. Our target still is to bring on one as soon as possible, and candidates to start coming in September, decision made in the October timeframe. And all that information was in the RFP. We're trying to stick to it as much as possible.
Decision on the search firm in October.
Decision on, start fielding candidates in September. Decision on the search firm in September.
What's in October?
October, we want to start getting candidates to field this is where we want to head. So the search firm decided by mid-September, so next meeting, ideally. Again, all this push is based on how we push it. Them start fielding candidates in September. Late October, just to be clear, we have candidates we've been assessing and likely to make a decision on. It was all stay in the RFP, Dan.
Okay.
Towards that.
So just looking through this proposal, that would be great if we could get some searches that they've completed.
Yep.
And so hopefully you guys are able to.
Yep.
Do you think by the next meeting you'll have a recommendation for us? And if so, would it be possible to potentially set up, at least for the recommended group to maybe attend the meeting via Zoom or something?
Of course, Dan.
That would be my request.
I think absolutely. It has been challenging to find firms, so those that do respond, we will invite, but I do think we might only have one or two. will respond back to that tonight on providing that evidence.
So the new business, we've got the accept representative to the board of directors. I think that's in
Yes.
the folder as well.
Yes, there's a letter in there, but there is a need to take a vote on just appointing me my annual appointment to the Board of Directors for both accept and then for tech. And Lisa drafted a letter pending your vote that would then be sent to the accept collaborative for me to attend the board meetings. And tech does not require a letter, they just require the minutes of the vote.
Okay.
So that's why there's no letter for tech.
Okay, and we have to vote them separately?
Yes.
Yep.
I would make a motion to appoint Dr. Kuska as the Holliston School Committee's representative to the accept Board of Directors for the 25 to 26 school year.
All in favor? That carries. And then,
And I can also make a motion to appoint Dr. Kuska as the Holliston School Committee's representative to the Tech Collaborative Board of Directors.
all in favor? That carries as well. At this point, we're at the end of the agenda.
Pretty amazing. Yeah.
So it's 8:10.
New
I
record.
think I beat you.
I think I did one so quicker than that.
Yeah, you might have, but
Just one.
okay, so at this point, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Yep. So thank you very much, everyone, and have a good Labor Day and good night.